At our New York studios, this is Brian Windhorst. We got some NBA champs over here. Danny Green, Kendrick Perkins. I'm Malika Andrews. Fellas, what a treat that we got last night to start the Eastern Conference Finals. Karl Anthony Towns, I was with him in the locker room, and he said, you know how you should start the show tomorrow? And I said, what? And he said, you should ask, what's the better start to the conference finals, the West or the East? And he said, I know, everyone's going to say the West. But like the East, they put up a little bit of a rock fight in this one.
Producer cat.
It
was fun.
Cat.
It's not.
It was fun.
It's not OKC.
I mean, we got Wemby. We got the Knicks.
We got the guards.
Right, exactly. And the Knicks, they trailed by 22 with 7 minutes to go. Keep in mind, teams were 0-663. Just check in on the fan cam here. You know who else was loving it? Of course, outside, but Patrick Ewing. And so was a friend of the show, Amanda Shumpert.
This man gets good seats.
Like he was ready to check in. Ben Stiller, Tracy Morgan, Timothy Chalamet as well. Chalamet. Mikal Bridges going to work.
This was tough. This was greatly defended, too.
That's over a former defensive player of the year.
To show you great offense beat good defense any day.
A few possessions later.
Oh, my God.
Brunson kicks it out to the corner.
Now he's hot.
Knicks rattle another one down. And then there was the doink.
Yeah.
Brunson.
Great minutes from this guy.
The double team drums. Kicks it out to the corner for Landry Shamet. Shamet was in the game for Josh Hart, by the way, and that's the doink. Gets it to go down. Shamet, what did you see on that one?
To be honest, when I shot it and I looked up and I was like, oh, we're tied up. I didn't realize at the time that one would have tied it up.
The Knicks complete one of the most impressive in the world's most famous arena and get the win in Game 1. By the way, this was Brunson's 16th 35-point playoff game with the Knicks. That is 7 more than any other player in team history. And think about all the illustrious.
On an island. It's going to be difficult, so we got to do a better job of making sure he sees bodies.
Listen, he's been one of our best defenders in these playoffs. I trust him. You know, smart, great hands. Didn't think about that.
That was Kenny Atkinson being asked about the defense of James Harden, saying that he is one of our best defenders. But Mike Brown said that they were hunting James Harden. And I know we can talk a lot about the Cavaliers here. Let's try to start on the Knicks side of things, how this was won here, Brian.
So this is the 4th time in the last 2 years that the Knicks have been down by 20 or more in a playoff game, and they've won.
Right.
Remember last year they did it in games 1 and 2 against the Celtics? Mm-hmm. Number 11 has done most of the work. Yeah. So when you get him in a situation where he's hot like that, I'm going to tell you, I don't care what the score is, he believes he can do it. The team believes he can do it. And going forward, whether it is the Cavaliers or it is the Thunder or it is the Spurs, you may want to be a little bit quicker on an adjustment when that gentleman gets going.
Big body Brunson. You know, he got his invitation last night.
Where
from
to?
the upper room.
Oh, okay.
From Steph Curry and Isaiah Thomas. He got his invitation. Now, it's on him whether or not he's going to RSVP. And the only way he could do that is by continuing to do what he do and win games and lead this team to winning the championship. But I want y'all to understand something right now. This man is on the verge, and has the opportunity to become the greatest Knick ever and change the narrative and enter a room that only a few people are sitting at, a dinner table with Isaiah Thomas and Steph Curry, because the narrative has been what? You can't win with a small guard leading the charge. Big body Brunson is changing that. While we looking at the West and looking at 7'5", 7'6", something that we never seen before, we got this little Mighty Mouse over here saying, I'm on the mission as well.
Right.
And what I saw,
I like that cat and mouse.
What I saw more so than anything, Malika, Danny, and Wendy, is I saw his leadership. That clip where he showed on the bench when he was standing up, talking in the huddle, motivating his team, I was like, I'd never seen Big Body Brunson do this before. It was just a different level. Yeah. You know, and when you see that type of passion, when you see that type of togetherness, when you see that type of agenda-free basketball,
right,
and your leader is getting it done, Wendy, you know why they couldn't attack him? Because he was doing an outstanding job of sliding his feet and playing defense. That's why they couldn't attack him.
Right, but it seems like, it's really hard to talk about this without talking about the mistakes that the Cleveland Cavaliers made. But if you're bringing up the mouse, then we got to also talk about the cat.
Yes.
Because Karl Anthony Towns, we talked about him being a catalyst for this team.
Sure.
Yes, I mean, and last night it was struggles for most of the time for their whole group. It wasn't just Cat, and that's why they went to the Brunson offense towards
Is
the
that
end.
rest versus rut? They just came out.
It was definitely rusty. I expected a quarter or two, but 3 quarters, I'm like, this is just a bad game.
Sure.
I don't think they're going to get through it. And there's not many things I disagree with Kenny Atkinson on. He's a Long Island guy. But James Harden being one of your better defenders, I don't agree here. But to James' defense, these are tough shots. Like, I don't think it mattered who was guarding him.
That was not good.
That was not tough.
That one, no. But there's a couple of them, the high off the glass, this one danced like, whoever was there in front of him, I think he was still making these baskets. But he got hot because James had one off the high off the glass. So even though James is known as a defender you want to attack, he played decent defense for some of the
Brunson
part.
shot 7 of 8 against James Harden in the fourth quarter and overtime of this game. Perk, what's the face?
Because he shouldn't have been in the game. It shouldn't even got
Perk,
to
there's
that.
no way you can take him out.
And I
If he's not
understand.
offensively scoring.
And you know why you can't take him out, Wendy? Because you did what you do best. And you reported a few days ago that guess what? It's a verbal commitment there for as a contract extension in the near future. And you and I both know that sometimes things come from the top.
Yeah.
Because ain't no way in hell. Kenny Atkinson didn't believe his own comments post-game. James Harden is your best defender.
What?
You're talking about Evan Mobley, Jared Allen.
Said one of their best.
He lied. And the truth wasn't nowhere near. And my thing is at some point, we're looking at James Harden. You know what I said last night? Different series, same story. More turnovers than made field goal. So not only is he being a liability defensively, play where he gave up that 3 in that corner to Mikal Bridges when the Knicks cut it to 3. I think it was about 1:16 seconds. Bro, what were you doing? It's a golden rule that you do.
Minutes left, and you got to take him out of that spot.
So
you
Kenny
got to figure out different
Atkinson
coverage.
had 4 timeouts. At
the only
3:30,
other thing
he
I
calls,
disagree with.
Right, so at 3:30 he calls a timeout. It leads to an Evan Mobley 3 out of that timeout. That's the last timeout he called.
How many left out of the game?
So he had 2, right? Because you use it or lose it timeouts after that. So 2 remaining.
So he had one for dinner, a side of timeouts for dinner.
Honestly, though, it doesn't really matter how many timeouts you got left. When your coverage is busted and you can't get anything offensively, you call timeout and you change your defensive coverage and you draw up an ATO. This is baseline stuff. I don't want to be the bad guy here. This is baseline stuff.
Yes, and we can talk about Kenny, we can talk about James. A lot of this is leadership, and I also look at Don. Like, you're a guy that they look to lead this team. And during this crunch time minutes, you got to be aggressive and
I think
assertive.
he was diminished.
He looked like he was tired. He looked like he was hurt and hobbling. But you got to go get the ball. He was deferring a lot in that fourth quarter.
It's another reason why they couldn't take Harden out, because Donovan couldn't do it.
But look, this is what I'm saying. They were up 22 points in the fourth quarter. Even if they're struggling offensively, you still should be able to get stops. At some point, it got to come from here. When you think of Fender, and he did that, you can't tell me that's championship level defense. And what I'm saying is, at least burn one of those timeouts, Kenny. You don't even have to draw up nothing that's going to change your defense. How about getting on their ass and giving them some type of motivation?
Game 7, the way that because I asked Kenny Atkinson about it after the game, and the way that I phrased it is earlier in his post-game press conference, he mentioned maybe a bit of fatigue setting in. And when you saw, but listen, Perk, when you saw even the way that Mitch Johnson used some timeouts and challenges down the stretch of regulation in the first overtime, some of it was, it seemed to me, to save the legs and be able to catch his breath for some of his players. And so if fatigue is setting in after a 2-7-game series for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and you're seeing that, maybe part of the purpose of calling that timeout could have been a little bit of a reset there. We have another 45 minutes of show to get into this, right? We got championship level players over here. We got Emmy Award winners on this panel, but I'm not sure, my friends, any of us could sum it up better or more succinctly than our newest analyst did. Check this out.
Dad, the Knicks were down by like 28, and now it's an OT. I guess what you said is true. There's always time.
That is a young
That's awesome.
Brewers.
Yeah.
He was being mildly condescending. I'm not going to lie to you.
To represent the West in the NBA Finals.
Shea, congratulations. You are the Kia NBA Most Valuable Player.
Knowing that Shea had got that award and any part of tonight feel personal.
Yeah, for sure.
Wembanyama rolls to the bench. Okay.
That's him with the 2.
Five on 4. Wemby's going to pull a deep 3. Victor Wembanyama. Are you kidding me? He's unbelievable, folks. He's unbelievable.
He really was unbelievable in Game 1. Let's start on defense. He held the Thunder to 2 of 8 shooting as the contesting defender in Game 1, and he's held opponents to just 26% shooting as the contesting primary defender this postseason. And if that's not enough, right, he became the first Spurs player with multiple game-tying or go-ahead field goals in the final 30 seconds of the fourth quarter and overtime in a playoff game since your former teammate, Kawhi Leonard. That was in 2017. And not only did he have that shot heard around the world, that was the longest of his career, but it was also the longest made shot in overtime on the road against the Thunder since Steph Curry, the double bang. Here's Keldon Johnson on Wemby's impact. He sums it up well.
Yeah, I mean, Vic's wrong each and every day. It's great to have him as a vocal leader. You know, his game will take care of itself on the basketball court. I feel like Vic is amazing, best player in the world. But I feel like his vocal leadership has been amazing for us as well. He tells what he sees and the things that he like and don't like.
I love that some of Victor's sentiment is, you know, we can't get too high. We need just one game at a time. And his teammates are like, nah, he's the best player in the world. Like, we're there, already there. But when you become the youngest player with 40 points and 20 rebounds in a playoff game, Perk, you earn that sort of praise. And we had a spirited conversation. Is your shirt good? Are we clean?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, we're good.
You lose weight over, you're getting slim.
Right. We had a spirited conversation here yesterday, Perk, about how the Thunder should adjust to guarding Victor Wembanyama. Brian said he actually thought the Thunder did a pretty good job. What say you?
A pretty good job at what? At what, Wendy?
9 of 19, 27 points in regulation. You can survive that.
They didn't. They didn't. And let me keep it a buck. It's time for Chet Holmgren. Take that graphic down.
Look at that points per play. Why are you ignoring that?
Take that graphic down.
Don't take it down. Leave it up.
Yeah, because in the crucial times,
we appreciate your efforts.
In crucial times, guess what? When they had Caruso and J-Dub on them, guess what Wemby did? Offensive rebound, putback. And you know,
I agree.
My thing is, we know that it's been beef there between Chet and Wemby. Only problem is one guy ready to make hamburgers and the other guy's ready to serve the plates. Right now, when are you going to come with it, Chet? The dude has a real hatred for you. He hates you. He don't like anything about you. You know this. You're 7-1. This is at your crib, dog. There's no excuses. I don't want to see Alex Caruso. I don't want to see J-Dub. I don't want to see Luke Doris. I don't want to see none of that. I want to see Chet Holmgren take it personal. Because when I used to play with Paul Pierce and we was matching up with LeBron James, he used to tell Tony Allen to move out the way. I got him. He gonna have to bust my head to the white meat. I watched Paul Pierce tell Tony Allen in the NBA Finals, move out the way. I got cold. KG tried to fight me at one point to guard Paul Gasol. If you're great and you're standing on business and you know you want to get at somebody, that's somebody that's looking at you, Wemby pose. He pose, man. At your crib. Unacceptable, dog. This is all on Chet. This got to come from within him.
So that you're talking like a player, and I respect it. From a strategy standpoint, having Chet as the backup help defender might be the better way to go. It might be the better way to go. Because Wemby's too good. You're not going to be able to handle him one-on-one.
Yesterday I was with Perk, and today I see Wendy's point of view. There's a middle ground here. We can kind of get both. Because it did work. Alex Caruso was a great defender, so was J-Dub. And then we have some clips to show. Early on, he's keeping him away from the basket, making him catch out high, giving him physicality, making him, kind of pushing him around the basket, feeling him, touching him, fronting him, which didn't work later on, but getting some steals, causing some havoc, getting, out and running, where they can get some transition baskets. Perk. Again, here, touching him, being physical, making him play on the perimeter some.
Right.
Alex Caruso in the shift, Fronting Wemby, you got two guys, give him some body. Make sure he's there. Fronting him some, you got two guys available, waiting to box him out so he doesn't get on the glass. Some of those things work early on.
With the wink for a little soft.
Yeah, a little wink. So Alex Caruso's not a bad defender. He's a good defender, and
Right.
it helps. But any superstar, you can't give him a steady diet of the same thing.
But the point-
over time, Wemby
Right.
figured it out. Got dunks ducked in. So you got to mix it up. And I think Isaiah Hartenstein could help some. And then Chet also has to be on him as well.
But when you put Caruso on him to avoid the catch, right? Like, that's what you're trying to do. Once he's got it, then that's when maybe you need the help defender. Is that what you're saying?
Well, the great Shaquille O'Neal said at one point, yeah, you could bang with me in the first quarter. You could bang with me in the second quarter. You could even bang with me in the third quarter. But come fourth, I got you. And that's all those clips you showed was in the first half. And what happened in the second half? We kept saying, well, damn, he got another dunk. Damn, he got another offensive rebound. Oh, he just snatched the screws out because you just tried to bring Chet over and he ended up getting an and one and yelling in his damn face in the fourth quarter.
So you want to see more Chet.
I want to see it, Malika.
You want to see more Chet. I'm curious whether they actually go to a single big lineup. I'm curious whether Mark Daigneault changes his lineup. We're not going to know until the absolute last second. But I'm also curious if we're going to see any lineup changes for the San Antonio Spurs if they get De'Aaron Fox back. That is a huge story that's hanging over this series. He didn't play, of course, in game one. He had that ankle injury. Let's get an injury update before we continue this discussion. Shams is here. Shams, what can you tell us about his status tonight?
Look, I'm told what De'Aaron Fox is dealing with is a high right ankle sprain. He will be a game-time decision tonight in Game 2. The Spurs are going to allow De'Aaron Fox to get to the arena, see how his body feels. He's been undergoing treatment last night, all day so far today. He's been dealing with some swelling, stiffness in that ankle. He suffered this injury during the Minnesota Timberwolves series. He was listed questionable. He actually played through it before being ruled out in Game 1. So how much do the Spurs consider, because they won Game 1, his status tonight being more cautious?
Some are calling it the Manhattan Miracle, the miracle on 33rd, the miracle just off 34th Street. The Knicks overcame a 22-point fourth quarter deficit to steal game one back from the Cavs, and here's how it went down. Jalen Brunson, this is what you were talking about earlier.
That's leadership.
Hyping up his team, entering Tuesday, teams 0-663 when trailing the way.
That's Danny Green in the playoffs.
MSG is rocking at this point. Coach Kenny Atkinson, he made the decision to only use one timeout. I asked him why.
Yeah, I like to hold my timeouts. I mean,
they were playing great basketball, had us on our heels, and just got to give them a lot of credit. Obviously, we played well in the fourth and overtime, but we got to come out ready to go. Honestly, I think we did. It was the middle, second and third quarter where we let go of the rope. So that's our biggest takeaway.
It's you live between misery and awesomeness, in the playoffs. And this is, of course, misery, but this is probably the four or five miserable games we've had in the playoffs. So it's like, okay, come on, get back on the horse. We go back at it again tomorrow.
All right, so it's worth repeating the golden rule of game one, which is?
Never overreact.
Never overreact.
I mean never.
This feels like there may be an exception to this never, just because the Cavaliers had this in their grasp, and I can completely see.
No, there is not an exception to
There's
never.
no exception to the rule.
That's what he was just talking about, in all honesty.
Right now, just off camera. But, Danny, if they're going to come...
I believe this series is going to go 6 games. Didn't they blow a game one to the Indiana Pacers? I don't think they ever fully regrouped after that.
In that case, that was correct.
Okay, so when you have these type of moments, it's demoralizing. And when I hear Donovan Mitchell speak after the post game, and I'm hearing Kenny, it's like they trying to play these psychological games with themselves. Oh, we just gonna move on. No, ain't no just moving on. You didn't been in these moments.
I mean, you tell yourself a lie enough, it becomes the truth, right?
And
They gotta believe it.
I also was on the other side where we was down, I believe, like 24 points in 2008 on the road and came back and we got a game in L.A. So, again, just moments like this, blown opportunities. I think last night was a blown opportunity. It's going to cost the Cavs the series.
Well, I asked Jordan Clarkson, who was teammates with Donovan Mitchell when the Jazz blew that 25-point lead to the Clippers, what are you going to get out of Don next game? And he said, a very aggressive Donovan Mitchell. Game 2, Eastern Conference Finals. It's set. The Cavaliers, the Knicks. It's Thursday night at 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. You can tip things off with NBA Tip-Off. It's at 7 o'clock. And you can also stream this game on the ESPN app. But let's shift to some news here out of Dallas, because Jason Kidd out as head coach of the Mavericks after 5 seasons in what the team described as a mutual decision. Now, Kidd led the Mavericks to the 2024 finals, but he's
The organization, and in the last 2 weeks, I've continued to really evaluate this. We are looking at the future. We have a 19-year-old on this team, that can take us somewhere great. We have to think that way.
So Masai giving us a little bit of insight into his thinking there. Shams Charania broke the story. We were all at Madison Square Garden yesterday, and several executives I was around said, oh wow, this was surprising to a lot of people. Shams, what led to this decision?
Masai Ujiri has been thinking about this ever since he took over that job as president of the Dallas Mavericks. And it all stems from, for Masai Ujiri, having a fresh start with the Dallas Mavericks organization. Jason Kidd was fired. Several coaches were fired on his staff. Scouts, other executives in that organization. And with Jason Kidd, they're eating 4 years and almost $45 million on his contract to let him go as head coach. And another thing that comes from this is the residue of the Luka Doncic trade. You think of the last 7 months, Nico Harrison fired, Anthony Davis traded, Jason Kidd fired. And there's no question, when I talk to people in Dallas, Mav sources tell me part of the conversation was most certainly Jason Kidd having a level of support for the Luka Doncic trade at the time, but just the level of culture we've seen, a lot of toxicity in Dallas over the last calendar year, a lot stemming from that Luka Doncic trade and what's come from all of that internally. And so now they're turning the page. Cooper Flagg is the face of the franchise. He will no longer have Jason Kidd as his coach.
So trying to kind of continue the clean slate here in Dallas. And so the million or maybe multi-million-dollar question here for the Mavericks. Hundreds of millions of dollars is what comes next.
Yeah, the biggest question for the Mavericks right now is Kyrie Irving's future. Masai Ujiri was asked about it today and said, we owe it to the organization to see Kyrie Irving and Cooper Flagg on the court. I'll tell you this, Malika, multiple contenders are keeping a very close eye on Kyrie Irving right now. He's got 1 guaranteed year left on his deal, and then he's got a player option, so that does give him some leverage on his future. He's 34 years old. He's a championship player in this league, but he's also got a level of equity in Dallas. We know he's also put a lot of equity into Cooper Flagg and his development this year. So Masai Ujiri has hinted they want to see these two guys, but what's the vision and how much can they show Kyrie Irving that we want you to be a part of this?
Absolutely, and Cooper's told me how much he sees Kyrie as a mentor for him in Dallas, so keeping them together would make all the sense in the world, but it's not just sense, it's dollars as well.
Also, Malika, for the record, I can smile. It's is it that hard to smile?
There's so much more to come. Just under 5 hours until tip-off of Game 2 in Oklahoma City. And earlier this year, I caught up with Wemby, and we talked about his off-season trip to China, where he trained with the Shaolin monks.
Spurs forward Victor Wembanyama has taken giant strides this season in his quest to be the next great championship big man in San Antonio.
6 feet behind the line!
It's hard to believe it was only 15 months ago he was diagnosed with deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot in his right shoulder, which left his future in question.
That moment, I remember clearly 5 minutes of total breakdown. Probably, obviously crying and sadness and maybe a feeling of the fragility of life and health. Basketball wasn't my priority all of a sudden. I needed time to find myself again and then to get better. Live from China.
Wembanyama's response was unique. He took the summer to travel abroad, stopping in China for a retreat to realign his mind, body, and spirit.
Incredible scenery, millennium-old buildings just at the bottom of the mountain in the forest. We meet a few monks. They're very social and they have phones and stuff. We were interesting. Let's see how it goes, but I'm not sure it is where I want to spend these next weeks in my summer, because it's an important summer. So we eat a few things, vegetarian, And after that, they go to show us a demonstration, a show of what they do, of Kung Fu. Let's just say that 30 seconds in, we were convinced. All the doubts we might have had before, long gone.
Victor bought in. He shaved his head and stayed at the Shaolin Temple for 2 weeks, waking up at 4 a.m. to work with monks, learning the ways of meditation and Kung Fu.
I learned some types of jumps and kicking jumps, which is surprisingly hard because it's lots of movements. And first you have to learn to do it the right way, and then you have to learn to do it quick and strong, which makes it twice as hard. Some things I did over there overloaded certain muscles in my body that were not used to these kind of efforts, and I think it made them stronger. I think it made them more resilient.
It's really a tremendous, incredible story. And Ramona Shelburne joining me now from our Los Angeles studio, because your latest piece, it dropped this morning on ESPN.com, and it does more than just detail Victor's time with the Shaolin monks in China. You actually spoke to one of the monks, the main monk that he trained with. What did he tell you about Victor, and what stood out to you about their work together?
Well, first of all, as he said, this is us on WeChat the other day. That's our colleague Charles Lin and then Michael from Tencent, who were translating for us. But he actually spoke very good English because he had lived in the United States for 7 years. They have Shaolin temples and they all over the world, and he had lived in Los Angeles and Washington, D.C., which is part of the reason why he was chosen to train Victor Wembanyama. And one of the things he said was, you know, if you are going, he already knew who Wemby was, right? He followed the NBA enough. He was popular in China, but he could tell very quickly when he showed up at the temple that he was very serious about this. He didn't complain about shaving his head. When they told him the rules, he said, okay, there was no pushback. They had to push 3 beds together so that he could fit to sleep in these sleeping quarters.
Amazing.
A couple times a day, he got in a Sprinter van, went outside the temple to go have protein because he couldn't just live on the vegetarian meals that they were having. But he said he was very respectful of everything they did there. And I think one of the reasons why he went there, Malika, is he said to you, he had obviously this very important summer, but he wanted to get stronger mentally and physically. And when you have a body type like his, you can't just lift weights. If you lift weights, you're going to lose that flexibility. You're going to lose the thing that makes Wemby such a unicorn, or such an alien, as we all call him now. He wanted to get stronger from within, too. So that's his mind. That's the meditation. 90 minutes of meditating while you're sitting down in silence at 7'4". It was agonizing, like cross-legged. They said at one point his agent told me that he almost cried. It hurt so bad to be sitting like that for so long. But that mental toughness to get through that, and then some of the journeys they put him through, I was genuinely impressed. I mean, some of the Spurs staffers who went with him, there was this nighttime hike that they went on, and they go, I'm a little uncomfortable with these lights being off. These steps are very narrow and treacherous. If he falls down the staircase, this could be really dangerous. And Victor just went with it. He didn't complain about it. He went with it, and I think he trusted. And one of the quotes that popped out at me, and I know it did with you too, which is, if you're going to fight, first you have to have courage. And I think that was the point of this whole thing, which is to have courage and resilience, which we've all seen now in the playoffs.
Yeah, we're certainly seeing the benefits of Victor's training here in the playoffs. And Ramona, I did ask him when he and I sat down what exactly it was. What's next? You've done training with the monks at the Shaolin Temple. What comes this next summer? And he told me playing rugby.
I saw
playing rugby is what he wants to do next.
Yeah.
So we'll see what that translates to on the court. Ramona, thank you so very much. The story was absolutely fascinating as we bring it back inside
You too, Malika.
our studios here in Hudson. The quote Ramona's talking about, if you dare to fight, you should have courage. So we're teaching how to be courageous and to build courage. That seems to be directly translating to this, at least what we saw in Game 1.
I think it's fascinating. I didn't understand until the interview that he went there for 2 weeks. This was not a long weekend. This was not a day trip.
Right.
It was 2 weeks, which mirrors how long an NBA playoff series is. Like, so when you have to sort of focus and lock in, I'm not sure it's getting up at 4 a.m. and climbing 1,000 stairs like that, but there is some sort of mental, there is some sort of journey you go on during a playoff series. And the fact that he wanted to do this, I think, shows that he's preparing himself for what he's going through right now.
And to add to that, right, think about it. Wemby was out. He was on the verge of having a really great season last year, and he went out because of blood clots. And when you out for a situation like that, you miss the game even more. So you add that with the combination of what he did with the Monks.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why we're seeing what we're seeing.
And I
right
love
now.
that also his agent had a conversation with Rob Pelinka, who was Kobe Bryant's agent. And Kobe credits looking at the way that great whites attack their prey with how he defended Allen Iverson. So certain greats, there are just ways in which their mind works. Brian, we need to figure out what the reporting version.
I'm an animal channel type dude.
It's time now. Let's stick with this game for Heat Check. It's brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Perk, start us off.
I got Wemby plus 14 rebounds. He's going to get that in his sleep. He's going to be on the floor. I'm expecting another 40-plus minutes.
I got J-Dub, points, rebounds, assists, plus 28. He is getting free. The rest is coming off. He's getting out in transition. They're going to double SGA, so he's going to have some more open looks.
What does it tell you that the sportsbook has SGA's over-under at 25 and he's averaged 30 points a game for 4 straight seasons?
They're doing
It
a
tells
pretty
you
good
the
job.
double teams are slowing him down. He's got to figure out a way to solve them.
All right, well, that all adds up to a plus 310, better than a 3-to-1 payout. So